Do you know what really does my head in, yeah? Keir Starmer gets up in Parliament today at PMQs, and the first word that comes out of his mouth is talking about Jamaica and the hurricane. Now, don't get me wrong, it's sad what happened out there. But what about what's happening here, mate? A British man, Wayne Broadhurst, was out walking his dog in Uxbridge, stabbed to death by an Afghan illegal migrant for nothing, right? A 14-year-old boy was also stabbed by him, and a 45-year-old bloke is now being left with life-changing injuries. So where's the outrage for them? Where's the compassion for our own? Not a single mention from Starmer, not one. He's too busy virtue signalling about another country while our people are being butchered in the streets by people who shouldn't even be here. Now, I'm sick to death of it, because ordinary working class people are the ones living through this chaos. The stabbings, the grooming gangs, the migrant hotels, while these politicians sit there in their fancy suits pretending everything's fine. Well, it ain't fine. Our country's falling apart, and the people running it care more about looking good on the world stage than they do about protecting their own citizens. Wayne Broadhurst should be trending, mate. His name should be shouted from the rooftops, but because it don't fit their agenda, you get nothing but silence. Keir Starmer, you are a disgrace. Start standing up for British lives, not just when it's convenient for your image. This is our country, and it's time we start putting our people first, you wanker.
A viral video circulating online has captured the growing fury among sections of the British public over what they see as government indifference to violent crime and immigration failures. The clip features a visibly emotional British man, identified as Wayne Broadhurst's friend, delivering a blistering critique of Prime Minister Keir Starmer after the fatal stabbing of Broadhurst in Uxbridge, allegedly by an Afghan national living in the UK illegally. He recounts the brutal killing of Wayne Broadhurst, a man reportedly out walking his dog when he was stabbed to death, as well as the injuries sustained by a 14-year-old boy and a 45-year-old man in the same attack. Where's the outrage for them? Where's the compassion for our own? He demands. Not a single mention from Starmer. Not one. The outburst, raw and unfiltered, reflects a deeper current of resentment coursing through parts of Britain, particularly working-class communities who feel abandoned by both major parties. The speaker's fury goes beyond a single crime. It touches on years of anxiety over migration, crime, and what he perceives as the erosion of national identity. Ordinary working-class people are the ones living through this chaos, he says. The stabbings, the grooming gangs, the migrant hotels. While these politicians sit there in their fancy suits pretending everything's fine. Well, it ain't fine. His tirade escalates into a direct attack on the Prime Minister's priorities. Our country's falling apart, and the people running it care more about looking good on the world stage than they do about protecting their own citizens, he says. Wayne Broadhurst should be trending, mate. His name should be shouted from the rooftops. But because it don't fit their agenda, you get nothing but silence. Still, the video strikes a nerve that no politician can easily dismiss. It exposes a widening gap between Westminster rhetoric and working-class reality, between polished speeches about compassion abroad and the day-to-day fears of people who feel unsafe at home. As Britain wrestles with the overlapping crises of migration, housing, and public safety, one message from this viral moment cuts through the noise. A growing number of citizens feel unseen, unheard, and unprotected, whether Keir Starmer listens, and how he responds, may define more than his political legacy. It could define the very trust between government and the governed.
Yeah, this is a case that involved a migrant from Somalia, Habi Gabderaxman Noor, who arrived in the UK in October of last year on a small boat across the English Channel. According to the court in Derby, he had been or had paid €400 to be smuggled into the UK. He had applied for asylum when he arrived here and was turned down for that, had been very angry that he was turned down for it, was in a process of appealing that decision. You can see him there in Derby city centre. He had been on that day of the murder on May the 6th this year. He had been drinking a large quantity of alcohol. He phoned up a migrant charity helpline a number of times, making threats that he was going to kill 500 people, that he wanted to target doctors and police and Home Office officials. Well, in the end, he didn't kill any of those, but he went to a branch of the Lloyds Bank in Derby city centre, where in the queue waiting to be served was Govinder Singh Johal, a local man in Derby who went by the name of Danny to his friends. Hebi Gabdarrahman Noor went up to him and stabbed him in the chest. You're looking there, incidentally, at images of Habib Gabdarrahman Noor being arrested later that day by the police. He went up to this young man and stabbed him in the chest before just calmly walking out of that branch of Lloyds Bank. The ambulance was later called to his home address because, of course, he had Martin been calling this charity helpline. They'd been concerned about his mental health and had contacted the police. The police passed it on to the ambulance. When the ambulance arrived at his home address, it was after the fact, after the murder. So Derbyshire Police have referred themselves to the policing watchdog. We can also reveal, as if this wasn't shocking enough, that this Somali migrant, before even entering the UK, had been involved in a string of crimes involving robberies and assaults in 4 separate European countries before he even arrived on these shores. And actually, before this murder, he had also been involved in assaults in this country, racially aggravated assaults, where he was screaming racist to individuals. I just want to finish by giving you a statement from Govinder Singh Johal's family, who say, Martin, every morning we wake up with a flicker of hope, expecting to hear his footsteps on the stairs, ready for work, ready for breakfast and a chat. But there is only silence, a silence that screams his absence. The future now feels like a life sentence of grief. That, the family of Govinder Singh Johal.
You know, Mark, it's just heartbreaking to hear that. You know, after what happened yesterday, and now this. You know, Govinder Singh Johal, father of 3. His kids won't ever see him again. Hard-working fella, paying cash into the bank, business owner. That's it. It's game over. It's just so hard to take all this news at the moment. I wonder if anybody else out there feels like this. It's just really, really completely overwhelming what's happening on our streets. Mark White, thank you. Moving on.